We have a guest from Brazil, a guest with the slogan of the forum this year is Connect the World. He is a dear friend for all human rights defenders in the world. Before we listen to our guest, we have a small surprise to him. We will give him the surprise. It will be difficult to take it to where he is, but we will display it. It's a 2-minute surprise.
هذا الإبداع هو إبداع لرسام الكاريكاتير.
Excellence is an excellence of the caricature political caricature artist Carlos Latuff from Lebanese origins to express. Maybe we journalists, we need thousands of words just to express what we have in mind. You just expressed it in one drawing, and you have one about Palestine, the other is about Syria, and it's about expression, opinion, and human rights expression, and it had costed him a lot. Carlos Latuff did not hesitate when we sent him the invitation to be with us. The floor is yours, Mr. Carlos.
Well. I'm so touched by this gift. Thank you very much for your kindness making this presentation of many of my cartoons. Hawan, thank you very much for the invitation. The ARIJ invitation. I'm so glad to have here among so many important people from all around the Arab world, investigative journalists. Well, it's an event for journalists, but and we all know to be a journalist, especially investigative journalist now in the world, is a risk task, a risk job. But I would like to highlight something very important to the kind of journalism, the political cartoon, because the political cartoonist is also a kind of a journalism. And no doubt to be a cartoonist, a political cartoonist in Middle East and in places, in so-called democracies, is a very dangerous job too. Let's take, for example, my own case now. I spent the past 10, 20 years drawing about the police brutality in Brazil. And I got many threats, including death threats, do my cartoons. And now, while I'm talking to you now, my home address was leaked by some cops, by police, some policemen in social medias in order to incite violence against me. So make clear to all of you in all parts of the world, if something happened to me, and blame the police, the corrupt and violent police in Brazil, their supporters, and especially the President Jair Bolsonaro, who also support this kind of harassment, not only against cartoonists in Brazil, but also journalists. We have many journalists in Brazil facing cartoonists. So I would like to make this statement here. Another thing I would like to highlight is how some journalists are being targeted in places like Egypt or Turkey. For example, Musa Kart is a political cartoonist in Turkey, and he was arrested due to the allegations of defamation or, of offending authorities, offending the figure of Recep Tayyip Erdogan. And in Egypt, you have the same laws against people who supposedly are offending officials, offending representation about an attempt of censorship. And I used to say, a strong journalism and a strong political cartooning, it means you have a strong democracy. You cannot have a strong democracy without political cartoonists. And now you have many journalists and even cartoonists being arrested in Turkey, for example, and even in Egypt, and also in Palestine. And also in Palestine, we cannot say there is a democracy there, even though Israel presents itself as the only democracy in the whole Middle East, but in fact, this democracy don't apply to Palestinians. You have many, in the case of Palestinians, all kind of people are being arrested, even children, So to be not only a journalist but and a cartoonist in Palestine, but be Palestinian is very difficult because you can be arrested for nothing, So it's very interesting because when you decide to denounce, to expose this kind of violence, this kind of human rights violations in West Bank and Gaza against Palestinians, you are labeled as an anti-Semite. This is another strategy in order to silence criticism towards Israel. This is very well known. And even now, this is official in the United States. The Trump administration ruled that BDS campaigns are anti-Semitism. They make this official in order to please Israel. So I think, for me, as a political cartoonist, this is the only case when you are defending human rights, you are accused of being an anti-Semite, promoting hate speech. So every time I make a cartoon exposing the human rights violations against Palestinians in the Israeli apartheid, I'm calling anti-Semite. Even organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch are being labeled as anti-Semitism, anti-Semites, because they are denouncing the human rights violations in West Bank and in Gaza. And my advice for people is not to put your head down. You cannot step back. You need to fight back. We cannot accept this kind of dirty strategy in order to censor human rights activists, cartoonists, journalists. We cannot accept this kind of label of anti-Semitism, because this is a manipulation of anti-Semitism in order to attend a political agenda of Israel. So we need to show courage to face this kind of situation. And at last, for the end, I would like to pay a tribute, to Imad Hajjaj, a political cartoonist in Jordan, who was jailed for making a cartoon about the normalization with Israel. So even if you make a cartoon criticizing this process of normalization of Israel with the Arab countries, you suffer the consequences. So I would like to pay a tribute to Musa Kart, to Imad Hajjaj, to all political cartoonists all around the Arab world, in Brazil, all around, everywhere, and the journalists, the investigative journalists, because as I say, if you intend to have a strong democracy, we need to have a strong journalism, investigative journalism. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to talk. Wish you all the best. Please stay safe. And I hope we may all survive to COVID-19. And in my personal case, I hope I may survive to the COVID-19 and the Bolsonaro government. Thank you very much.
نتمنى لك السلامة والأمن.
We wish you safety and health, and that you will not be touched by any bad deed. Many journalists had to publish in fake names in Arab words, because if they published in their own names, they will be harmed physically or arrested or threatened. So and this year had witnessed the most, where there were locks of borders and where journalists were locked in their own countries, and so many had to publish in anonymous names. And many all wish you well and value your caricature drawings, because caricature just exceeds all types of journalism, so it surpasses them. So thank you very much, Carlos Latuff, for your contribution.